My heart is in.
Alright, what's going on YouTube? This is BoxingWave. I'm home, I'm just relaxing, doing some things in the house, and I have the Mayweather Pacquiao fight on the DVR, and then it leads into the Kirkland Canelo fight, right? So I have it on, but I'm not really watching it. I'm just walking around, I'm cleaning up, and doing some stuff around the house, and Jim Lampley's fight game come on, right? Now, I'm not a big Jim Lampley fan. I think he's a little too biased in his commentary. So I don't really watch the show like that. I've seen it before, but, I don't watch the show. If it's on, maybe I'll catch some few minutes of it. But, he's on, and he does, Bernard Hopkins is on there for a second. They talk Floyd. They talk the most recent fights, like Canelo, Kirkland. Well, actually, I believe this episode was before the Canelo and Kirkland fight, if I'm not mistaken. But they talk the Mayweather Pacquiao fight. They talk Lucas Matisse against Provodnikov. They talk Wladimir Klitschko, against Brian Jennings fight. So they review those fights for a few minutes, and he goes on to make like a top 5 pound for pound list, which I believe included Floyd Mayweather, Gennady Golovkin, Sergey Kovalev. I believe Vladimir Klitschko was in there. I believe he was in there, and I think Vasily Lomachenko. Lomachenko. All right, top 5. So anyway, he goes on and he makes a anti-Gatti list. Okay, now I don't know if this is like a regular thing that he does on his TV show. Okay, but this is the first time I'm seeing it, all right? And I'm watching and I'm listening. I sit down, I'm listening to it, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, he does an anti-Gatti list, okay? Now, we all know that he's a huge fan of Arturo Gatti, and this video is definitely not to slander him in any way, Arturo Gatti, okay? It's not to slander him in any way, but we know Jim Lampley is a huge Arturo Gatti fan, okay? So he makes this anti-Gatti list, and on this list, it includes Floyd Mayweather, Vladimir Klitschko, Guillermo Rigondeaux, Erislandy Lara, and Miguel Vasquez, all extremely highly technical fighters. All 5 of those guys are at least in the top 10 of technical fighters today, okay? All has had major success in their respective divisions, okay? They all are either the #1 guy to beat in their division or the top 2, top 3. I mean, Miguel Vasquez, I would probably Miguel Vasquez or Erislandy Lara, wherever you want to place those two. But Miguel Vasquez has been a champion in his division in lightweight for a while, until he lost to Mickey Bay. And Erislandy Lara, he's been up there. He's lost to Canelo, but, he's been top 2, top 3 in the division for a while as well. But we all know Rigondeaux's the guy to beat. We all know Klitschko's the guy to beat. And we all know Mayweather's the guy to beat. So my thing is this, and this is the bad part of boxing, and I'm not really here to, because I enjoy a brawl as much as any other fight. I like all fighters, all styles, okay? I like Mayweather. I like Rigondeaux. I like Lara. You guys know that, okay? Those are some of my favorite fighters, and I love them because and Klitschko. I love those guys because they are very technical, okay? But I enjoy a brawl just as much as anyone would. Any casual fan or whatever. Okay, I enjoy a brawl. There's a lot of fighters that are brawlers that I enjoy watching their fights, okay? But see, my thing is, what Jim Lampley is doing and what he was doing when Rigondeaux was fighting on HBO, when he was doing the commentary, he's making it seem as if boxing shouldn't be this way, okay? He's kind of slandering these guys uh, and making it seem like their style is boring, okay, by calling it the anti-Gotti list. He didn't make a top 5 technical fighters list. He didn't make a top 5 brawlers list. What he called it is the anti-Gotti list, as meaning these guys don't fight with heart like the way Arturo Gatti did, okay? And I think it's very disrespectful because you can make the argument that these 5 fighters, an easy argument, that these 5 fighters are or has had more successful careers than Arturo Gatti did. Okay, Arturo Gatti lost to a lot of fighters, a lot of C-level fighters, not just great fighters, but he's lost to a lot of average fighters out there. All right, I don't need to go down the list. You can go and check it yourself. And I'm not trying to slander Arturo Gatti in any way. Rest in peace to the dead and everything. But I'm not trying. This video is not about that. It's about Jim Lampley. And, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. But when you're doing commentary on that level, where on a broad level, where you're on HBO and you have your own show, and you're being that biased, on a massive scale, it shouldn't be that way. It just shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't, because there are plenty of boxing fans like myself that can enjoy a technical fighter or can enjoy a brawl. Boxing is about styles. It's not about just brawling. If you want to see brawls, turn on World Star Hip Hop and watch a bunch of guys fight in the street. Okay, if you want to watch just that kind of fighting, and I'm not even trying to compare brawlers and boxing to those guys, but if you want to see wars, if that's what you really want to see, then you can turn that on. Okay, the ring, the size of the ring is made for any type of style. Okay. My boy DstyleBoxing made a video discussing BKB and how he's not a fan of it because it's a watered down version of boxing to promote knockouts because it's in a small circle, and basically they want the knockout. That's why it's called big knockout boxing. I think that's what BKB stands for. But if there's one of their recent cards, there were a bunch of fights that wasn't any knockouts in it, and what's the point of watching it if there's no knockouts? You might as well fight in the ring. The fight with Gabe Rosado and Curtis Stevens probably would have been a better fight if they had fought in the ring. So I don't understand. I don't mind. Like, I see a lot of guys that are like casual boxer fans that thought the Mayweather Pacquiao fight was boring and the Canelo Kirkland fight was a real fight, and that's fine. I'm not here to change nobody's opinion or nothing. If that's the type of fight you like, that's cool. I enjoy the Canelo fight and the Kirkland fight more than the Mayweather and Pacquiao fight too, because it was very entertaining. I expected more from Pacquiao. I knew what I expected from Floyd, but I didn't get that same thing from Pacquiao. The reason why I liked the Matisse-Provodnikov fight, but I expected more from Provodnikov, okay? It wasn't about me picking Provodnikov to win the fight. I just expected more, okay? I expected more energy from him, but part of that might have been because of the fact that Matisse hit so hard. Maybe that's why we didn't get a more aggressive Provodnikov until towards the end of the fight. Excuse me. So what I'm trying to say is the sport is made professionally for any type of style of fighting. If for you to make an anti-Gotti list as if these guys don't give real fights, it's ridiculous, because there's a lot of people that watch the Kirkland and Canelo fight that feel that the fight wasn't that good because all they did was stand right in front of each other and slug it out. A lot of people, there's a lot of boxing fans that don't prefer that type of fighting. Whereas they rather watch the Floyd Mayweather Pacquiao fight. There are people out there that did not like the Canelo Kirkland fight. You know, a fight that I liked this year was the Pacquiao and Kovalev fight. That's like one of the best fights of this year that I could think of off the top of the head. I like that way more than the Matisse and Provodnikov fight. That's just my opinion. But you're shedding light on these 5 great fighters that in a negative way, you know. You go and put Floyd at the top 5 pound for pound, and in the very next list, you put him at the top guy in the anti-Gatti list. That's ridiculous, okay? We know he doesn't like Floyd, but we know what that's all about. But you also put Klitschko in there. You put Lara in there. You put Rigondeaux in there. You put Miguel Vasquez in there. And, you know, you talk about how they run, and it's just bad when you're on a massive scale like that on HBO, giving your opinion, where people that's watching believe for you to be believe Lampley is an expert on boxing. And if he's saying he doesn't enjoy it, this is not the Gatti type of fighting. This is not boxing. This is not real fighting, you know. And people watch this and they listen to it and they're like, yeah, you know. A lot of people are ignorant when it comes to boxing. They don't really know much. They just think you're supposed to slug it out. I was watching a fight with someone that's never seen Mayweather fight before, and they had no idea that Mayweather fought that way. And it's fine. It doesn't bother me. But there's a reason why these guys have long reigns of being undefeated or having consecutive wins or whatever. You know, because they're defensive fighters. You know, the ring, there's a way to shut that down, though. That's what I'm trying to say here. If you know how to cut off the ring, you can shut these guys down from using their legs. It's happened. It's happened countless times. You know, and that's what makes certain fighters great, because certain fighters know how to make adjustments. Some fighters who Matisse, who is normally the aggressor, the front foot heavy fighter, when he fought against Provodnikov, he knew he had to outbox Provodnikov. He has a punching power. He is the better boxer between the two. He had to make the adjustments and outbox this guy and use his legs and use distance between him and Provodnikov, whereas usually Matisse is coming forward, going for the knockout, trying to hurt his opponent. This time around, he made the adjustments, and that's why he won the fight, okay? A lot of fighters do that, all right? If Klitschko was fighting a guy that wasn't as aggressive as a Brian Jennings or a Povetkin, he would be coming forward, going for the knockout. That's what he does, all right? He picks and chooses who he switches it up. He makes adjustments based on who he's fighting. So for Jim Lampley to go out there, and let's not act like, let's look at the fighters that we're talking about here. We're talking Lara, a guy that is known to be, he's a boxer puncher. I mean, he's knocked guys out, but once he stepped up in a level of competition, you find guys like Angulo, okay? You find guys like Paul Williams, a guy that easily throws over 1,000 punches a fight. You got to change it up. You got to change it up some. When he was on ESPN fighting Ronald Hearns, and all those guys, he was knocking them all out. Once he started fighting better competition, he had to switch it up. We know Canelo's a bigger guy. We know he's a harder puncher. This is why he had to make the adjustments and outbox him, outthink him in the ring. All right? We all know this already. I mean, most of you diehard fans know this. But what Jim Lampley is trying to do is not right. You know, for him to get his own show and say those kind of things on HBO, on television, it's a very, very biased opinion for him. And for someone that's been in the game for that long, he should know better than that. You know, he should know better. But, you know, he gets to do whatever he wants to do. You know, I think he's misleading the public and the boxing fans, because people feel that he is an expert on this. He's an expert analyst. Let me say that. He's an expert analyst. And for him to go up there and do that, it's just ridiculous. So, I just wanted to say something on that real quick. You know, there's plenty of examples. I could give a million examples. And Gatti was a very entertaining fighter for what he did. But, you know, he got into a classic war with Micky Ward, you know. And they had 3 great fights, but I don't prefer that type of fighting. You know, it's good to watch when it's happening because it's a war and it's great to watch. It's entertaining. 2 guys slugging it out. But there's plenty of boxing fans that don't like that type of fighting. You know? So, but for the casuals, more people that are casual fans, if you never seen a boxing match before and you seen Micky Ward against Arturo Gatti and then you watch Pacquiao against Mayweather, most likely, if you never watched boxing like that, you're probably going to like the Micky Ward fight. Okay? I probably could give you a better example, but that's just common sense. You're going to like the war better if you never watched boxing. But if you're a boxer yourself or you have experience or knowledge on the sport, you understand that there's so many different styles and there's so many different matchups that can make, you know, I don't know. I can enjoy a very technical fight as much as a war. That's just me though. All right, so I just wanted to speak on that. I know you guys are waiting for the Golovkin-Monroe prediction. I'm probably gonna do that either today or tomorrow. Sorry for the wait. And see you on the next one.